Alright, good evening, guys. Today we'll be discussing about one more aspect of the theories according to your syllabus. That will be Peter Drucker's management theory. Okay, so let's get briefed of who was this Peter Drucker in one or two lines. Then we'll get into the 6 aspects of his management theory. Peter Drucker was born in Vienna, Austria, in 1909, and he had proposed these management theories. He has written numerous articles and numerous publications on the management. How should management be practiced, and how that has been to be followed. He has his explanations put up in Drucker Institute as well. So how the process goes and management theory comes across in today's modern working style or culture, he'll be briefing. He has briefed us. The first principle which he says the organizations to adopt is first point in his theory, that is decentralization. Always Drucker focused on the aspect of decentralization. Shouldn't be your organization shouldn't be controlled by shouldn't be authorized by one person or one group of people. It should be a democratic way of functioning the work. See what happens when you people start dominating on the people, on the employees may lose out their interest pretty soon. They get demotivated pretty soon. So if you want your work to be done in the organization effectively and efficiently, it becomes very important that you give up a certain authority, give up certain responsibility, give up some decision making, so that they feel positive about the environment, positive about the manager, about the person, positive environment, and hence leads to your productivity. So treat all employees as fairly skilled and value their decisions, respect their decisions, and whatever the voices that they pitch up in the meetings, see that you people take up their voices so that they feel happy, saying that even my point has been taken into consideration. Never know that workers' participation might go up ahead in life. So give them inspiring work which can challenge them, and so keep on pipping them, motivating them always by giving them sense of responsibility and authority. Decentralize the work rather than keeping it centralized and burdening it on one individual or keeping another fellow idle. So very important that you decentralize. That was his first ideology. Second, he said about the knowledge work. Now especially knowledge workers are the skilled laborers. Let's say blue collared employees and white collared employees. Now blue collared employees are your linemen, your 4-level employees, and white collar employees are skilled. So knowledge workers obviously will be white collared employees, and these jobs handling, they need to have certain information, such as marketing analysts, engineers, analysts, etc. So their knowledge has to be based on the years of experience that they have worked under, and probably their skills, how they are utilizing. So very important that after you give a little responsibility and authority, very much important that you recruit such people where there is skill in them, knowledge is then, and appreciate their knowledge whenever they present it to you. That is very important. Then third one is workforce development. Always Peter Drucker felt very strongly that managers should improve both develop and improve both the team the team members. It's not only that you go on improving or you go on correcting their errors, but there's no development. You need to see that you correct also, at the same time you develop them, provide opportunities for developing, provide them the best training facilities available to those people, provide them the much needed learning opportunities wherever it is necessary, different sectors, different trainings. So send them to developmental programs which the state and the central board conducts. provide them the scopes to participate in fun and entertainment events so that they bring out the best. That is very important as well. Then corporate social responsibility. This has become very important in today's life of an organization. CSR, we people call in short. Providing social awareness to the organizations, coming up with discrete awareness camps, discrete different innovativeness, where you build up sense of awareness amongst the public, where there is you pick up a social related topic and you asking the public to be responsible towards it. Not only it helps you in your own organization, indirectly you are also getting your publicity done for the organizations. For example, you take Reliance Foundations. The other day I was giving you example about Education for All. Neeta Ambani runs an Education for All institute, free education for students from 1st standard to 10th, 12th standard. Free education she takes up, and her foundation gives takes up the scholarship and sponsorships for those kids. So that is one CSR which they do. I was giving one example of the doctor. He will not charge anything if a baby girl is born in his hospital. During your IPL games, which is the current trend which is going on, the Royal Challengers, one of the franchises of IPL, they go with Go Green concept. You see there is Cancer Foundation events have been done. Save the Tiger Foundations are done. Your actor Salman Khan does so many of the events which are related to CSRs. So it's very important that organizations, not only organizations but also individuals, carry up these social awareness responsibilities so that people get aware of these aspects and wake up and act against if there are any wrong things happening. And similarly, the organizations indirect, they get the brand which they wanted as well. So corporate social responsibility is one more. Then organization culture. There is bound to be negative force, there bound to be positive force. So companies should have one or the other culture. Either it has to be hard and fast, rigid culture, or it has to be a very smooth, congenial going culture. It has to have certain set of values, principles, concepts, norms, so that the organization employees people follow it, and at the same time they face up whenever if there are no disciplinary, no values no norms being adopted, no quality objectives being adopted. So the problem might be that the organization productivity, efficiency won't be there, since the culture itself has become such that no norms have been followed, no quality observations have been done, no the spirit is not there, teamwork is not there, cooperation is not there, the respect towards the seniors and the juniors are not there. Behavior on behavior is not particularly good. So the culture has to be sound in at least for 8 hours in a day for the employees. So show discipline, that is very important part of organization culture as well. So that he stresses upon. Then one more he stresses about is customer experience. Always see that your only feedback is your customer satisfaction. Unless and until you make your people, your clients or your customers happy, the organization will never achieve any objective. It is very simple that how do you treat your people, how do you make your organization branded and quality wise, quantity wise, that is also based on the feedbacks which you get. Your employee will be happy if you treat him well, guide him well, give him sense of responsibility, give him sense of authority. Similarly goes with the customers as well. You see their experience in the sense like what kind of product to buy, and they completely rely on a marketer. How do you convince him? How do you treat him? How do you provide him the products with services I'm talking about? So all these are pretty important. Ultimately the experience of the customer to whether to take a product from this brand or that brand becomes very important for the survival of a market. So he stressed on these genuine points as management theory. Never been specifically asked so far, as like Peter Drucker management theory. It has either been Fayol's theory or it has been Taylor's theory. I've never been so far asked, but never know. So that's why, as per the syllabus, I'm covering this. In your textbook also you can get these. The four important ideologies which he mentioned in his management theory. First one, he spoke about decentralization. Second, he spoke about knowledge work. And then third, which he spoke about, was workforce development, that is employees development. Fourth one, which he spoke about, is CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. Fifth one, which he spoke about, the culture of an organization. And the sixth one, which he spoke about, is customer experience. The next one which we are going to take is Elton Mayo. Okay, next what we are going to do is the last theory in the first module. It is Elton Mayo. Elton Mayo's contribution to management theory. As Elton Mayo, basically a well-known practitioner or kind of a author, which comes from Hawthorne experiment. Now, Hawthorne experiment, I doubt whether we need to concentrate much on that, but Mayo's management theories grew on certain observations of employee productivity levels and under certain kind of environmental conditions. His experiments took certain conclusions about what is the real source of employees' motivation. Then, what is the groundwork? How does an employee gets motivated? Then, and many management theories also have been saying that the employees are motivated by such factors such as monetary rewards, non-monetary rewards, and such all those things. So Elton Mayo came up across with a matrix where he illustrated that given if a team has to be successful, his matrix demonstrates, I'll be mentioning that in your notes, that matrix, that will be various combinations of the matrix which organizations employees motivation go through. Okay, now there are two concepts in his theory. The first thing what we'll talk about is norms, which are your rules and regulations, and second, which he talks about, cohesiveness. Now, cohesiveness is form of staying united. The quality is in the form of united. It has to stand unitedly. Cohesive is united. And norms are your basic rules. Okay. Based on Elton Mayo's, he made certain four different combinations. The first combination of Elton Mayo's theory affected was first on groups. Listen this carefully. Groups with high norms and with low cohesiveness. Repeat. Groups with high norms with low cohesiveness, which they do not stand unitedly, have no impact. Getting it? Have no impact. Why? Since none of the members are motivated to improve. This is according to Mayo. Repeat. There are two concepts which Mayo mentioned. One was norms and one was cohesiveness. In the first combination, where the norms are higher but the cohesiveness is on the lower degree, what happens under those circumstances? This bears no impact at all amongst the people, because nobody wants to improve, nobody wants to excel. That means basically it's a very negative impact, because there is no unity. Only the norms are being represented. When only norms, regulations are being presented, rules are being presented, when there is no unitedness amongst the team, no cooperation, no support from the team, naturally it bears nothing productive for an organization. This was the first combination which he gave. Second, groups with low norms and high cohesiveness have a negative impact on the others, since fellow members encourage negative behavior. As simple. When first combination where norms are high, cohesiveness is down, it bears no impact basically, as they are not interested. When the norms are low, cohesiveness is high, it bears a negative impact on the people, because this encourages other people to give. Now example I'll give you. When there are no rules or no regulations in an organization, and when the unity is strong, what happens is you people tend to neglect the disciplinary and the do's of the certain organizations. Not only you do it, your references also do it. In school and colleges, you people might have done this. You don't do homework, you don't do this work, even I'll not do. Let's bunk, you also bunk, I'll also bunk. Let's keep off this, let's keep off this. Not only he's bearing negative impact on himself, but he's bearing the negative, he's encouraging other people also to neglect the norms, and we have to do whatever we stand in togetherness. I mean, if two people are not doing, the next group also is not going to do that. So this is where your negative impact has been shown. That is where there are no norms, but unity is higher. It bears a negative impact. Second combination. Third combination, when the group norms is high, when groups with high norms but low cohesiveness. The first one what I spoke was groups with low norms, low norms, low cohesiveness. Both are low, there's no impact. Okay. When I spoke the first combination, when the norms are low, cohesiveness is low, there is no set of impact bared on anybody, because nobody is interested following the rules also. Nobody is interested to follow in team also. When we people talk about the second combination, where the norms are low, but when the groups with low norms, high cohesiveness, we have negative impact, because these people encourage negative behavior. Third point, when we have high norms but we have low cohesiveness. I repeat, when we people have third combination, when we people have groups with high norms and low cohesiveness, some degree of positive impact is being seen through individual accomplishments. I repeat, groups with high norms and low cohesiveness have some degree of positive impact through individual members' accomplishments. And there is no unity to do the wrong things. Or when the high norms are there, when the high standards are being set, it becomes a team's effort. When the team is being stacked with heavy profits, so it becomes motivation for an employee. So when the rules are high, when the profits margin is high, and the team who's going to do the work for the higher margin will always give you a positive impact. When there is unitedness also, if there is low on unity also, the norms are higher, the standard is higher, that time positive impact. And the fourth combination, groups with higher norms, groups with higher unity have the greatest impact, since group members encourage one another to excel. In the last two, what it is, when the group norms are high, that is objectives are high, rules are high, regulations are high, if there is no unity also, no formation of also, there is some kind of accomplishment seen by one individual's accomplishment to another individual's accomplishment. When the fourth combination, which says that groups with higher on both cohesiveness and norms, it is the greatest, because both the parties will help each other to excel. This is what Elton Mayo's theory completely says. So I repeat, this Elton Myers, it is slightly confusing, guys. So he came across these observations of how do employees get more motivated and improve their productivities. The first one, inside thing, which he made a matrix, conducted half-thorn study and made a matrix. The matrix consists of two concepts, norms and cohesiveness. When there is first combination, when there is low cohesiveness and low norm, there is no impact bad, as nobody wants to excel. That's the first. Second, when there is when the groups with low norms and high cohesiveness, there is negative impact. So cohesiveness has to be degreed down, and when that means there's no unity. Higher the cohesiveness, higher the thing. The aspect. Then third combination, groups with higher norms and lower cohesiveness, lower grievances, positive impact, and groups with higher norms and great teamwork, that is the positive, the best positive aspect for organizations. Cohesiveness means higher. The cohesiveness has to be lower in the organization. It means there should be less grievances and make a strong united team, and norms have to be higher as well. So this is what Elton Myers management theory says. Just need to keep both the theories in mind, because these are the ones which may be asked for somewhere in hook and corner. But please do take care of the first two theories, theory of Taylor and theory of Fayol's. Those are the main important ones. Okay, so this video was all about two theories, and with this the first module is completed. So in the next video probably start moving on with the second one. Alright, thank you.